we're back.
And we're back.
Happy Mario Day. Is that?
March 10th.
How does that make you feel?
Oh, that's a great question. How we all doing? Here we go.
How does that make you feel, Christopher?
Just peachy.
Peachy?
Hoosier, get it? Peachy, like, Mario Day. Hey, Flapjack Nickelsack. That is a, let's see, 8 months? Whoa. Thank you for that. We got Papa Chicken, Oakrid, Hoosier, Alex, Rattlecan, Sugar Rush, Sarcastic Grandpa, Lumberjack, Red Spartan, Iterator. Hello, everybody.
Ghost Hunter says, I almost broke my paint waiting for the stream to start. Don't break your paint.
Britt Nicholas, 79 months.
Don't eat the paint and don't break the paint.
Wow. That's just incredible. I gotta shut this door. They're working on that gate.
Oh, are they?
I think so, yeah. They're putting the lock thing in.
Oh, nice.
Mo.
What's going on, everybody?
Tech Elf. It's Monday. Monday's the new Wednesday, everybody. I've determined that.
Flapsack Nickeljack says 8 months can't be right. Should it be higher or lower?
No, it's 79 months. No, it says 8 months, Flapjack.
Should it be higher or lower?
I'm reading it right here, and it says
Oh,
they subscribe for 8 months.
You guys can see my drink in frame. I'll set it there, but now it's even worse.
What?
What happened here?
I learned something very interesting over the weekend. You should never trust a dude named Chris. If Chris crossed applesauce, imagine what he would most certainly do to you. Interesting. I'll give you that one. That was funny.
It was it?
Was it? I don't know.
That was funny. I would take points away for that.
Papa Chicken, that was a bomb.
I feel like that bombed, buddy.
That was not.
Pop Chicken, I can't support that. I can't support that behavior.
Iterator 3 days with no stream is rough. We had business.
Source, this is tea. I have an iced tea from lunch with way too much lemon in it, by the way.
No, it's just straight vodka, chat.
It's been sitting on my desk since lunch. Were you told to sit crisscross applesauce in grade school? No. That is a term that was made up because society didn't like the term that I was told when I was going to school. And I had never heard that term until actually fairly recently. I did not have any idea what crisscross applesauce was. None whatsoever. Is it a Long Island iced tea? No. Nope. It sounds good. You still want a Coke. No, it's a tea, and Jen doesn't like lemon in her tea, but I do. So I got my lemon, and then she gave me her lemon, and I squeezed them both in there. And then I forgot that I had tea, and it's been sitting for an hour. So now it's super lemony, which is not bad. Was not what I was expecting. Just going to throw that out there.
Welcome in, everybody.
Hello.
It's Monday.
How are you doing, Chris?
I'm doing just great.
Fantastic. I like to hear it.
How are you, Jason?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a rough day, but I'm doing pretty good. We've had to make some interesting decisions today, and they are all kind of at the 0 hour or the final hour of our work.
Final hour. And speaking of the final hour, Dealer of Death, 100 months.
That's not even possible. I'm only 55 years old. It can't. 100 doesn't even fit. That's not even a thing.
That's a 4-year. That's how many? Whoa.
It's a lot. That's a lot, my friend.
That's a lot.
That's like 8.5.
That is 8.3333333.
Oh yeah, it is. 8 years, 4 months.
Wow.
Been here forever. As Dealer of Death. Dealer of Death is one of the few people that owns some models that I've painted on stream. I mean, I don't know if he still has them.
Dealer of Death.
Yeah, Dealer of Death was here in the video game era.
Wow, very good.
And he's got some Kingdom Death models.
Nice.
Hey, bud. Would you? No, I would not say that. I'm not even going to read that, Pop Chicken.
Wow.
What kind of interesting decisions? Like more new colors? Like less new colors. I have cut the amount of colors releasing at Adepticon down to 18. So we are looking at 18 new colors. The other 6 will be released.
Oh.
But not the way you would have thought.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel comfortable telling chat because you guys get all the straight dope and you get it earlier than everybody else in the world anyway. It's one of the fun things about being around here. But the 18 colors were here. Let's just show you.
Right now?
We'll start off early so that everybody that comes in late, Chris can do his standard welcome to the show. Where have you been? You missed something important.
Holy Moses!
You missed something important to all the people that show up late. They will be displeased to know that they just have missed something entirely important. Importantly entirely.
Call your friends. Call your family. Call your.
If they're not here
significant
now,
other.
it's too late to call them. It's just not going to work.
Hurry!
It's just not going to work. They're not going to.
Little Billy. Ooh.
It's just not going to work. I have to put this. I have this errant.
Oh yeah.
Needle laying around. Probably would be good if I put that back in the tube and set that someplace safe. That wasn't there. All right, chat. Here are the 18 colors that will be coming to you in expansion sets 5 and 6.
Wow. Chat.
So 2 new expansion sets.
Get hyped.
9 colors apiece. And they start with a really nice beige. It's almost like a beige gray. Right? We've got a couple of cool grays. So we've got cool gray and bright cool gray, which are really nice.
Yeah.
People have been wanting some cool grays, so there you go. We got warm gray, neutral gray. Now you have cool grays. You have cool gray and bright cool gray. The washes, the sepia wash, the magenta wash, the brown gray wash,
huge.
And
huge
Payne's
ones.
gray wash. Right?
That's right.
Right. So there you go. The sepia wash is actually called petroleum wash, I believe. I have to talk to Gabe about that one. I don't remember what we call it. Right? Another nice brown. Got a good set of browns in various colors. We got some brights. I got a red orange. We've got an orange yellow, which is really nice. Got a terracotta, which is actually a really, really good skin color. It's almost like a dark advanced flesh tone. Right?
Oh, terracotta.
A green gray.
Love that one.
Green gray is awesome. Peach flesh, which is a fantastic color. Really, really pale. I think for people that are doing a lot of pale flesh, that this will come in really nice. It's also just a great highlight color. Just think of kind of a more yellow tan flesh. A black red. Black red, a really nice desaturated deep red, right? Which is super good. This is a bright green blue or bright blue green. I don't remember what we call it. Right. And then a really, really good indigo style blue. Oh, and then a little thing called mid-tone silver that we're calling steel. But a silver metallic that fits right in between the current dark silver and silver, which is nice. So there you go. That's how it goes, chat. That's how it goes. So 4 new washes, a new metallic that everybody's been screaming for, right?
Steel.
And then 13 amazing colors that have a really nice desaturated palette, other than the orange and the yellow are very vibrant. The rest of them are just really, really good desaturated, use them by themselves, or mixers for that work well with other colors that we already have. So fantastic stuffs. Expansions 5 and 6 available world first, Adepticon 2025.
How much for
be
the
there
sample
or be
bottles?
square? What's that?
Little Billy's asking, how much for the sample bottles?
$1
million.
$1 million.
Wow. Chat.
Tons of goodies. Tons of goodies.
I hope you're all excited. Because.
Oh, they better be.
That's it. You'll never see those again. That was it. If you were here. If you're just now tuning into stream, Welcome in.
And too bad.
You missed it.
And too bad.
And that's it. People are asking, hey, can you show me those colors again?
Too bad, so sad.
No, that's it. That's it. You'll
Too
have
bad.
to rewind, folks.
So sad.
What about the Forbidden Six, says Hoosier?
Well, you just have to wait for that. I don't know how to tell you anything about that.
Uh-oh.
You're just going to have to wait.
Well.
You're going to have to wait.
Jason is such a tease. A little bit, yeah. Nimrod Gaming, speaking of that, 40 months. Thank you so much for that sub. Bud says he can't wait. What a big announcement day, chat.
We got it all situated. All the final labeling. All the colors are filled. Like,
Sure.
we literally have all the colors over in the warehouse.
Get hype.
So,
Hey, and we're back on Sanguinius. Speaking of Sanguinius.
Nunchuckius.
Sam
Sam Squaminich.
Sandquiblius.
Yes. That's his name.
Sandwichius.
Sandwichius.
That's the good one. Wow.
Monty Python quote for the big day? No.
Papa Chicken, you only get one of those.
Ever.
That's it. You heard him. Gosu, is there a release date set for the paints for those who won't be going to Adepticon?
I am intending on pre-orders for retailers going out. If we can get our act together, they wanted to go out today, but they'll probably go out tomorrow. The announcement tomorrow or Wednesday. Once pre-orders for retailers and distributors are out and we get the counts back within a week, then I'll be able to tell you. So about this time next week, I'll have better info for you on an actual street date. Unfortunately, we work with our retailers and wholesale partners to get all of their order value counts in. What's the quantity they want? And then once we know that, we look at what we can produce and we look to match, in this case, our needs for Adepticon, our needs for our retailers. And if we can do all that and still have some left over, then the street date will hit at the same time for everybody. If, however, retailers come back with a ridiculously high pre-order amount, we want to make sure we can handle them first so that you have the opportunity to go support your local retail store before you buy it online. And then it would be a week or two after while we replenish supply internally after that first production run. So our goal is always to release to everybody simultaneously. Sometimes it doesn't work, just based on pre-order numbers. We're trying to get better at making sure that our partners, our friendly local gaming store partners and distributors, get the ability to have the paints at or before street date on the website.
If I happen to have a screenshot and written down the paints as you went through it, would I be banned for reposting them in the Discord? Says Little Billy. Little Billy, you're just banned.
I think Chris is just
You're just banned. You're done. It's
Nope.
the end of the Little Billy show.
If I show them here, they're
Hey, they're out in the
public
world
consumption because it's on the internet.
This is
now.
it now. This is live.
I can't backtrack it. We can't fix that in post. Yeah, you can post them wherever you want. You can say, hey, I was over at the Monument Hobbies
That's right.
Twitch today, and look what they announced. You can post it on Facebook. I don't care. I don't care. I'll deny it all. People come and say, I heard a rumor. Be like, that's all it was.
I won't.
Did you hear that from Little Billy?
I won't fix it in pre. Not today. You can't fix it in live. It is a part of the landscape of live chat. It is what it is. It's out in the world. There's nothing you can do about that.
Very difficult to take that back.
Let's rewind time. Can't do that. We treat you with the utmost responsibility of excitement, chat. We want you to be the first.
We're entrusting this highly delicate, sensitive, secret information with you.
Secret information that's live and public.
And on the internet.
And here for to stay.
Damn it. Didn't think this out, did we, Chris?
Nope.
Chris is like, we should tell Chad about the paints. And I'm like, is there a problem with that?
And then you were like, sure, maybe not. Sure. Sippy drink.
Sippy drink.
Hey, for all of you just now tuning in, welcome. Let's bring it back to center. We are Monument Hobbies. This is Jason. I'm Chris. If you're
Hi.
just now tuning in, you missed it. Rewind it. Big hype. New colors coming.
Where have you been my whole life, Chat?
Where have you been my whole life? That's a great question. It does get posted to YouTube, yes. Delete the VOD. Claim the people must be suffering. We won't do that, Papa Chicken. The VODs go live right after the show.
I did that once in the past. We showed a new product.
Oh, yeah?
And and somebody said, hey, is it okay if I post that
Okay.
and link it
Link
and
it?
all that? And I said, what are you talking about? And I totally gaslighted them. Oh. And I deleted it off of Twitch.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And this was before we were moving stuff to YouTube. So I only had to delete it off of Twitch.
Otherwise it goes away.
So I deleted it off of Twitch, and somebody had clipped it, and I deleted all the clips. And so they were talking about, can I just link them to the clip, or can I post that clip up? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And like, from the stream yesterday, and I go, I didn't stream yesterday.
You just totally.
I was like, I wasn't feeling good. If you go back and check, we didn't stream yesterday, so you won't find any record of it.
You sent that person into like a insane dream state.
I was like, we didn't stream yesterday, did we?
Hey, what? Stream? We didn't stream Friday because we had a lot going on, chat. Saving my hobby dollars for expansions 5 and 6.
Nigel,
Nice.
they are great colors. We've been using
yeah.
them a lot. We've been using a lot and pissing people off using the colors.
Yeah, speaking of that.
There are some really, really good ones in there. They are all just, as we do here at Monument, we come out with some amazing paints that just fit right in the line. All of them fit really well. The orange yellow and the red orange, I think, are two great colors. Well, like you can see them, right? You can see my decision-making palette today.
Yes.
As I was going through some of the colors, and I was like, some of them just don't really fit in well. But that's the new orange yellow. You want to do a super zoom there? So that's the new orange yellow versus warm yellow and yellow ochre. So that's a great color that will fit in, especially if you're, actually painting yellow. Then it gives you a good mid-tone for warm yellow or even for golden yellow, but also works as a great complement to the yellow ochre. And then the red orange. We have orange red, but this is red orange, just to fool you into thinking. So regular orange, red orange, Nova orange.
That's a cool. I like that.
So yeah, so to give you an idea of where those colors fall in there. So we work hard to make them not too similar, but similar enough that they feel right at home with the colors you know and love. There you go. There you go, Christopher.
There's a lot going on, chat. There's a lot going on. Get hyped.
Bud says, loving the Aaaannnnd models. Are the plans for more? Yeah, as long as these do well, we plan to release models for the original 9 Asura in the box game.
Nice. I'm glad you like those, bud.
The models are really, really good.
They're made very well.
Really, really good. We have an amazing sculptress. She's amazing.
How long? Oh, yeah, we were just talking about that, Nigel. How long will the sets come out after Adepticon?
They may be available right at Adepticon online, and they may be a week or two after. If they are not available to the public and on our site during Adepticon, it will be probably 2 weeks after. Not very long. I would prepare yourself for that to be the case, just because the initial feedback we have from retailers and from everybody around the world is that they're super hyped for these colors. And every time we release new colors, they sell at a rate higher than anything we've ever seen. And so I just don't know that we'll be able to produce enough in enough time. We're ahead of the curve. Like I said, we already have quite a bit produced. We have all the Adepticon stock produced already internally. Yeah. So we're ahead of the game, but that doesn't guarantee anything. We'll try our hardest.
Deputy Creepy. Howdy, partners. Hope you're all doing well. I had a crazy couple weeks, got into a vehicle pursuit last Monday. Caught the dude, but ended up doing a high-risk traffic stop myself.
Ooh,
Justice.
Boy. Creepy, I want you to
Good luck
chat.
out there.
I want you to chat in stream during a risky situation. Whenever you find yourself in a risky sheriff situation, I want you to be in chat saying, chat, I'm dealing with this right now. What would you do? And then we want chat. It's kind of like, think of it like cops, but interactive. What do you think? You think you could sell the brass on that, Creepy?
Yeah, can you do that for us, Creepy? Can you just stop what you're doing in your very busy high pursuit days and just like, you know what? I got to do this very important thing for chat right now.
You know, this is community interaction.
That's what I said. Yeah, we'll keep it to you. How many sets are you taking to Adepticon? Are you talking about the new sets, Sugar Rush?
There will be just under 1,000 of each. So we will not be able to handle the entire show, but there you go. Get there, be quick. Plus singles. We'll have some singles, obviously.
It's going to be a big release, chat. You saw it here first. Let the countdown begin.
Freaking huge.
How many sets and how many colors in each set?
2 sets, 9 in each set. Total of 18 new colors. We might surprise you with the other 6 being released as a Wizard's Butt set.
What?
But I didn't say that out loud.
What? What are you talking about?
I didn't say that, Christopher. I don't even know what you're talking about.
What?
The other 6 colors might be released as a limited edition. Once they're gone, they're gone. They just don't fit the line the way I want them to. Someday over beers, chat, I'll tell you why all that is.
Chris, why would you even say that? What are you talking about, Flapjack Nickelsack? I'm flabbergasted.
I need some dark warm gray. There goes my Adepticon budget. And
What?
before the con again, I mean...
What?
Swifter Bear, if we release the 6 as a set of Wizard's Butt colors
What?
for limited edition, they will be available only on our website and at conventions until they're gone. So don't worry. We won't take all of them to Adepticon. Right? We will leave some for the website so that everybody gets a shot at them. We don't do that tremendous FOMO thing. We make it fair. The only thing is it will not be fair to stores. Retail outlets will not be able to get Wizard's Butt. That's just a thing. So we might piss off some of our retailers if we do a limited edition run of color from the 6, the shunned 6. They're great colors. You've seen me use some of them on stream already. They just don't fit the line the way I need them to.
Kenneth the Red.
Long
Or
term.
you just make the Wizard's Butt color available to people taking your class at Adepticon. That would be big FOMO. Well, if you took my class.
I think it's already sold out. It's only like 25 seats.
I think so.
It's only like 25 seats. So, unfortunately.
Limited edition Wizard's Butt set. I'm gabberfested.
Yeah, 6 paints that all have the exact same label and SKU, but are all different colors. It's going to be a blast.
Little Billy, what if I
That
place
was
an
Baby
order
J's
right now?
idea, by the way. Otherwise, I was just going to throw all those paints away. I know. Gasp. I was at the point where I was like, it doesn't matter. We made it colors. We've already bottled some of them. I've changed my mind. I'm an artist. Leave me alone. I was grumpy old man in it.
Chat.
And then Baby J came to the rescue.
That's right.
And said, I have this big idea. And I was like, that's an awesome idea. I think people will love you for that.
Baby J, the hero we didn't know we needed.
Yeah.
I said that right? I think so. Baby J, you're welcome, chat. Dusty hobbies. So is the black jade and emerald black on the chopping block?
They are. Both of them. They will be wizard's butt colors.
All praise adult J. Long may he reign. Wow. Chat, get them when they come out. And now we wait.
The jade black and emerald black are both got chopped.
Imagine it, Chris. As much as I insult you, says Little Billy, I'll flatter you beyond belief for a taste of that wizard's butt. I do not accept.
Wow, that's a turncoat right there if
That's
I've ever
right.
seen one. I think Little
It's not gonna
Billy, he
happen,
would
Little
respect you
Billy.
more if you just stuck to your guns.
Stick to your guns.
Stick to your guns.
Someone must captain the Dutchman.
Yeah, the colors that didn't make it. One of them, even though it'll be released in the Wizard's Butt set, might see the light of day down the road. It was a color I really hated to cut. Part of this is just due to simple numerics. These colors were initially going to be utilized in a little bit different way. Can't expand on that really. But we have altered course, and now we have to be able to fit all of them into the retailer racks, and the retailer racks only have 18 spaces left. So we are, for obvious reasons then, reducing down to 18 colors so the retailers can get all the singles in the rack for the time being. And then we will revisit all of the colors that do not make this. But that being said, the colors on some of them are just too close. Like, to give you an idea, dark jade here, right? And emerald black. So I just, they are different colors, right? But in terms of what I could afford to say, okay, it's too close, let's delete it. Dark sea ben here, right? And then jade black. And you can see that it's hard to tell the difference. There is a difference, but not enough, so.
Sugar Rush. Make bigger racks.
Well, they are coming.
Big
We are
stuff
doing
happening.
that. So I have just, as a matter of fact, today, part of the reason why I was unable to be here on Friday, which I apologize profusely for, chat, is because I have been working on the design of the new retail distribution rack design, along with the team, and we have that now put to bed and sent off for quote. So there will be a much larger, more elegant Pro Acryl rack in stores before the year is out. But of course, that doesn't happen overnight. So
A lot of big things happen in chat.
oh my god,
lot of
many.
big things. So just know that these colors are they're just how, if you're just now tuning in, rewind, go see them. But they're gonna be great, and you're gonna love them. But yeah, a lot of things going on. Tanner's asking, so they're originally going to be in some kind of box set altogether?
Yeah, ish.
Gotta see, adding more black could probably make the jade black, emerald black. Get catching up, chat. Can we get a vote for palette cam? No! And Chris does conspiracies. What? No. Big Bob, minus 1,000 points.
What?
That's right, Big
You just
Bob.
took 1,000 points away
I
from Big
just
Bob?
took you 1,000 points away. I'm catching up, chat.
Big
How many little
Bob.
things are happening?
Big
So
Bob,
many.
I feel like you've been mistreated.
I'll mistreat.
I'm throwing it out there, Big Bob. I feel like you've been mistreated. I, for one,
Yeah.
support you, Big Bob, and do not believe that you deserve the treatment that you have received. Just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, Big Bob. I'm still up 1 million thanks to Slow. Wow, he got a lot of points. I see how it is. Justice for Big Bob. Oh, boy. That's funny.
Big Bob brings me like chocolate milk to Nova Open.
This is true.
I think you even got to partake in that
I
chocolate
did.
milk.
I did.
And you're still treating Big Bob this way. Big Bob,
Big Bob.
don't bring enough milk for Chris this year.
Oh, boy. There it is.
Matter of fact, maybe Chris doesn't get to go to Nova Open this year.
Oh, chat, that's a big sad.
That's a big sad.
That's a big sad.
Oh, we got to take him. He's too good. People love him for some reason.
I do love that show. Gets me jazzed just about what we do for our community and just the vibe, you know.
It is.
I would go regardless.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, 100%.
I mean, you know, it's just a cool place.
100%.
You know, Adepticon's cool. Don't get me wrong. Love Adepticon. That's fun. But, you know, Nova is just kind of the feels good, you know.
They both energize me tremendously. Nova for a different reason. In Nova, I'm more of a participant.
Yeah.
So that feels good. Obviously at Adepticon, I play the other role where I'm more the personality and they're doing business and all that. And Adepticon's great because the size of the community you get to see, the amount of people that go is tremendous. So Adepticon I love. And Nova, I get to kind of slink away and just be an artist talking nerd stuff to other artists, which is a lot of fun.
Next Level Painting, 95 months.
Not possible.
57-month streak.
Freaking Kenny, can't let that guy anywhere.
Kenny, you're the best. Thank you so much. Bud, yeah, last year's Nova was my first of many. Yeah, we got to meet Bud in person. I love meeting chat in person. Makes me happy.
What's going on, Kenny? Those of you that don't know, Next Level Painting, Kenny Boucher. Be sure to click on that man's name. Give him a follow. One of the most amazing streamers on the platform.
And
been
rating
doing it
with
for
19.
Years. What's that?
And rating with 19.
A raid? What are you doing streaming so early? Oh, no. Oh, I guess it's everybody else's
change?
daylight savings now.
Oh, yeah.
It's the daylight savings beast kicking in.
Okay,
we're in Arizona. We don't do that here.
We have Mountain Standard Time.
We don't do that here.
Kenny says casual video games.
Oh, look at you. What are we playing? Don't say Street Fighter. Don't say Diablo.
Kenny, I saw you playing a game the other day. I forgot which one. I don't remember if it was Path of Exile or if it was another one. Grim Dawn.
Ooh, Grim Dawn's good. I feel like Grim Dawn is maybe one of the best of those action RPGs ever made. It's frustratingly hard in spots, which really kind of jazzes me, you know? Makes it feel like it's worth going and doing the grind to get the better gear.
Yeah.
Because the reward is better. Diablo really doesn't impress me anymore these days.
No.
And you know my thoughts on PoE.
Yeah.
PoE is good, but come on, dude.
PoE is good until it's not.
Yeah.
It's literally amazing game, and then it's not.
And then it falls off.
Because I freaking love that game, but I hate it all at the same time because they're like, what are you doing?
I'm also not the guy that wants to play every class.
One class kind of guy.
I don't know the one. It depends. The one or two, maybe.
I dive into
current PoE doesn't have any other classes other than the monk that I built that really made any difference to me because I like pugilist style physical builds.
Yeah.
But the way they did the other warrior or whatever with the shouts and the leaps just felt too silly to me.
A little bland.
Well, a little weird. Like, why am I jumping around? Why aren't I just beating the crap out of stuff with like a big weapon or something? And it all came down to where the meta was, you know, screams, yells, and jumping around.
Yeah.
Felt a little weird to me.
Yeah.
I get it. They're not designing for the crazy 55-year-old miniature painter for some reason. Who knew?
Yeah, that game is very fun. I do like it, but frustrating. Doing some leather bits here.
Kriegs, you remember when this channel was about mechs? It still is when we paint them.
We still have it.
I still paint a lot of BattleTech. But yeah.
Kenny says, yeah, with my obsession for ARPGs, I just had to get into Grim Dawn finally. It's like D3 UI and really cool class system. One of the first playthroughs.
It really is, and yeah, the progression in it is really good. I've been playing it for years and never finished it because I just keep getting to these spots where I'm like, I don't know how to get past this.
Oh man, I played the crap out of Diablo 3.
You would love Grim Dawn then.
I probably would.
It's a pay game, but you don't have to pay for anything other than the expansions to it.
Oh, okay.
Right. And like I said, I think I might have a couple of the expansions. There might have been a couple free ones along the way, but
Did it come out like during D3?
It's an old game now.
Yeah, it is old. Okay. 2016?
I've been playing it for a long time. It's one I go back to occasionally. Like when I get frustrated with PoE, I go play Grim Dawn.
Interesting.
Everything, yeah, the class system feels fairly unique. The drops feel pretty good. It is grindy like those games need to be, but in a way that I feel like is makes it feel like you're progressing.
Grim Dawn, I'll have to give it a look. DP McKay, my brush on primers just arrived today, right as I am about to head out for vacation. Looking forward to bringing them along.
Oh, nice. Look at you.
That's perfect. Perfect use case.
Awesome.
That's what they're for. Can't bring your rattle can, can't bring your airbrush. We got you covered. Literally.
That was good, Chris.
You get it?
You should be in marketing.
You like that?
Yeah.
We got you covered. Kenny says it came later after D3 and PoE. It's not super famous because it's peer-to-peer multiplayer, so that's a massive limiter. Interesting. I'll have to give it a whirl.
Yeah, I never have done any of the multiplayer stuff, so for me, that's never really a deal breaker.
I see.
But I can understand for people that play it that way that it might be. I just play it single player, romp around and kill stuff. It's just a really fun, action RPG.
Yes, Fizzle, thank you so much for that 12 months. Wow, a lot of subs today. Thank you guys. We really appreciate that. If you're just now tuning in, welcome.
For those of you that have been around since the video game days around here, I am back to playing World of Tanks, which will...
You're really on that kick.
Probably, that lets a lot of people know where my brain is at lately.
Got to get that little competition feel.
Yeah,
I know exact that feel, though. I know that feel.
But it's a pain, because holy hell is the freaking matchmaker gross right now. But they just announced over the weekend a new revamp to the matchmaker system, so I'm holding out hope that it will get good again.
Mocha, it is Sanguinius from Artel W.
The great resin sculpt. The best Sanguinius sculpt.
It
doesn't look like Bill Nye the Science Guy on crack in like the worst pose ever, like the 4-year-old one.
Jason, what's really your go-to tank for World of Tanks?
I'm having a hard time really seating in. I've only been playing now since the holidays, so I'm on like month 3 of being back after 8 years of not playing. And in 8 years, that game's changed a whole hell of a lot. And it's really gone into the space of OP tanks. It used to be that there weren't as many OP tanks. And all of the tanks were really just kind of like, how do you get around the mouse and the E100 and heavy armor or auto reloaders. And there were not very many auto reloaders. It was just the French and the French, right? And now you have this problem where everything's got a reloader. So I'm still learning like who not to poke the corner on. I'm going through my fair share of I'm in my amazing tank and I peek the corner and do 400 damage and get clipped. But right now I'm having a lot of fun with my T57 Heavy, my old T57 Heavy. Trying to think if there's any new tanks I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying the Progetto Tier 8 premium tank that I got.
Progetto.
So there's some good stuff.
Oh, here's a good one. Jason, read this out for me.
Captain Awesome Balls says, one thing that's been racking my brain, metallic medium. I can't find any videos on its use. Is it just meant to thin metallic paints without losing the metallic flake? Or is it to mix with either opaque or transparent colors to make them metallic? Or create new colors by adding pigment powder to? Or just to go over a matte paint to give it a pearl metallic look like a car paint would? Yes. All of those things. It is a super flexible... the most expensive paint we make, the makeup of it is, I can't charge you what I lose money basically every bottle we sell, to give you an idea. Because it is a super flexible paint that does everything you just described. Mixing it with our transparent paints is one of the most amazing things you can do. The transparents won't take over the metallic sheen of the paint, so you can get some crazy colors worked up. You can glaze over the top of it, so you could paint, your metallics and then do a glaze over the top with the transparents, or with the metallic medium, mix it into the transparents to get their metallic color straight out of the way. When mixing with opaque colors like the normal line, you can still do that, but the opaque colors are going to cover up more of the sheen, and in order to add enough metallic to them, you wind up with it being kind of not the color you want. So it's really meant for use with the transparents. And then again, as a top coat, it's also the brightest silver we make. So it's like a platinum, like almost a white metallic. So you can edge highlight silvers with it. It lacks opacity. So you have to do kind of a couple of coats before it really will bring an edge to life that way, but you can do it. And then, yes, mixing with the other metallics to dilute them a bit, to brighten them up a bit. So it's a neat color to play with.
I like it.
Is the coal black a blue-based black? No. Nope. It's carbon black. Ideas on painting pearl. Pearl? Danger? Pearl. Is that what you're saying? Pearl?
I'm pretty sure.
Just sparkly white.
Sparkly white.
So when you say sparkly white, like was mentioned before by the previous poster, if you want to use a metallic like a pearlescent effect, the metallic medium has kind of a clear or white metallic feel to it, so you could put it over the top of a colored base and do that with a metallic sparkly effect if you wanted to. When I paint like pearlescent effects, I do it more like what you're seeing the base of these wings becoming, right? So you have a sheen like a mother of pearl. I'm using jades and turquoises and greens and pinks and magentas and things like that underneath a transparent white. So it gives me kind of a pearlescent feel. You can see how it winds up when you're done, when you look at how I did Dante's wings. You want to pop in close on that?
Yeah.
Right, so like on Dante's wings with like dark purples and again jades and magentas and yellows and all sorts of other colors, so you get kind of almost a color shift, but there is no color shift. It's just that the colors only appear at different angles because I underpaint them. So in both of these cases, the wings on the right aren't done yet, but in both of these cases you can see I underpaint with very bright, vibrant colors, and then I cover them up with the whites or the ivories or the colors that I want. And by doing that, I limit the colors underneath to more like filtered color. And then depending on how you look at it, they look like they shine or give you, like you look at the wing in that angle, right? Looks a lot different than when you look at it face on or from bottom up because of the colors that I use. So I give that kind of color shift. I call it that mother of pearl look that I really like without having to use shiny or glitter effects. Right now, you can obviously use gloss varnishes and metallic medium and things like that to give it the glitter if you want that shine, but you would still underpaint beneath that metallic brighter colors. And you don't have to do it in a very meticulous manner. You can just be kind of really haphazard with the placement of the colors. You don't have to blend them really nice. Now you can see like on Sanguinius here, I have my shadows leaning into like the royal purple and magenta shadows, right? And then in the highlight areas, more of the turquoise greens and jades. That's just a choice I made. And then I've got more yellow up towards the top, right? So that's just a choice I made, but you don't have to be that specific on where you place the colors either. Yeah, and derp stick, same thing. Just underpaint and then bring up a white top coat somehow. Whether you do that with glazing white, I like transparent white for it because our zinc transparent white works fantastic for that. And then you just let those colors that you painted in the bottom be the oil on water type colors that pearlescent effect gives you, and you can pick it. You can do oranges and yellows, you can do magentas and greens, you can do whatever you want to underneath there. And then by putting the transparent white over the top, you bring it back to looking and feeling white, but has that slight coloration. And depending on how you turn the model and how thick the transparent white is in certain areas causes it to look different. Jade, what's going on? Here's a question for all you artists who take those amazing photos. I got my work bonus thinking about getting a DSL to use for photographing our models. We don't need anything crazy expensive, just looking for better than the cell phone camera. What was the one that we got?
We got the Fuji, it's the S20?
S something. Fuji.
Check the
Yeah, we got a Fuji camera that was fairly light on the pocketbook and was much better than the Canons or any of the rest of them as far as...
yeah, it's the XS20.
XS20.
Yeah, the real difference, unfortunately, some of those cameras you can buy that are cheaper, you're just not going to see a huge difference between that and your phone. It's all about the lighting, really.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be honest with you, with all of the things that you can do with your iPhone camera nowadays.
Honestly, Jade, I would start thinking about your lighting setup because your camera
better lights and some of those camera apps that expose
Yeah.
the settings better than the iPhone native camera settings do work great. I've shown on stream a bunch of times how to do that. I have not updated my phone app to the latest edition because on my latest iPhone, whatever the hell I've got, 16 or whatever it is, more of the camera stuff is exposed. So you can do more with just the iPhone native settings than you ever could before. And you can get some really, really good photos, but you want to be able to get to your white balance controls, right? Basically your aperture. It doesn't really have an aperture, but it exposes both your exposure and your aperture settings. And some of them even have like a shutter setting. That is really just a matter of the digital going in and rendering what it would be for speed of how big the aperture opens and how much light it lets in, and the speed of it opening and closing to take the shot. Even though it doesn't do that physically, they have the programmability to make that a thing, and then to adjust your exposure to the right level. And once you get used to that, there's like settings you can do that are just like set it once and you're done when you're photographing miniatures. It'll bring depth, really good white and black contrast into the miniatures. Bud says, my best friend will be there July 25th and 26th. Well, you tell him he hasn't come to visit me in a long time. Freaking guy. Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bate. Yeah, it's all about that lighting, Jade. It really is.
Good tripod is good. Getting just something that they make the tripod mounts for the iPhone that work really, really well too. Being able to hold that steady is tremendous.
Flapjack Nicholsat. Olympus is great. Panasonic is a great one.
It really comes down to what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. I found that getting the expensive cameras and everything is good for those people who already understand how a DSLR works and they're familiar with the workings of it, the settings on a DSLR. If you're in that world already, then getting those settings and done. But being able to get the app for your iPhone that turns it into a DSLR is equally as good. The camera that they're using on the high-end phones nowadays beats out most of what you buy. What you're paying for is the body and the ability to put on the lenses. And I'll tell you what, we got a fitting for the iPhone, and I am not going to remember what it's called, but it's a case that goes on the iPhone and has a screw-on lens adapter And they make some amazing lenses for the iPhone too that can do crazy macro photos, big wide angle stuff. So I feel like there's a point in the not too distant future where you'll just put snap lenses onto your phone and they'll be just as good as anything you'll be able to get. They have full filtering for them. I mean, it's limited. It's not as much as you'll get for a DSLR, but it's pretty good. Artistic Outlaw says, is there a specific color for monument you would suggest to put a mossy sheen on stone? So to work that up, I tend to start with like dark yellow green or black green, right, as a base, and then the yellow green over the top of it, and you just do it thin. That works really, really well, right? The black green is less of a yellow green. It's more of a bluish ranged green, but it gives you a really good shadow for that mossy feel, right? So it gives you that kind of dark, wet edge to your moss. And then going back with the yellow greens in the middle.
Bless you.
Thank you. You have an Android. I mean, they do the same thing.
Yeah, Google Pixel's the same way too, right? They're all of the cameras, you're going to get compressed online anyway. So, you know, just like what Jason was saying, there's some really good tools out there for your phones that you can get that will achieve the same thing. It really does come down to the 3-point lighting is always really good too.
Lighting is the key because no matter what camera you have, if you don't have a good lighting station, it will not fix that for you.
Mm-hmm. You can have a $20,000 camera, but if your light is wrong, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it can only compensate for so much. And when you start using effects on the camera to generate what should have been there for light, you start losing more detail than you gain. That's the one thing that you have to be careful of with all the phone cameras is they all come preset to be for content creators on TikTok who don't know what they're doing with light and need all those effects to be generated in a fake manner. Mm-hmm. And so I found that I have to get over a lot of that. Like my new iPhone, whenever I go to take pictures with it, I need that app to buck it back down to its raw stats. Otherwise, it puts a bunch of stuff like it knows what you're trying to do already. And that is not the case. Trust me, none of them balance their cameras to take pictures of your painted miniatures. They're all trying to bring color out of where there is none because they assume you have nothing but daylight outside and that you're trying to make your skin look smooth when it isn't. And stuff like that. So they do stuff like in their portrait mode, which makes everything smoothed out and evens out the contrast. And you're like, I'm painting a thing that's 2 inches tall. I need as much contrast as I can, and it can't be fake. That's true. So from that standpoint, a DSLR would be your best bet because it doesn't come with any of that baked in. It gives you the ability to do it, but most of the stuff you do on a DSLR, you would wind up doing in Photoshop if you wanted those effects. The camera phones start trying to do it for you so that you don't have to edit in any software. You can just go straight from the phone to your preferred social media platform and ta-da, have fun. Make millions being an influencer.
Derpstick, what are the best use cases for heavy titanium white paint?
It is the same exact pigment as regular titanium white. It is a thicker viscosity, as you know, if you have it. And it is built for what we call tip loading or loaded brush painting. And what that is where I would put one color, like this warm brown that I'm using, on my brush, and then just dip the tip into the heavy warm white or heavy titanium white. And then when I paint with it, you get that little sparkle of white first as you touch the brush to the model from the white being on the tip. And then as you apply pressure and drag the brush along, the brown starts to mix into it. So that brush loading, right? I'll show you some. Heavy titanium white, right? So heavy titanium white. This stuff is so thick. It's like right in between our paint and the heavy-bodied acrylics that we're coming out with. Right? And then I need a little bit more brown. Right here. And what I'll do is same way you would paint normally, right? You just get a damp brush, but I want to get enough brown in it. So if you can shoot in on that, right?
Yep,
So I've got a good brush load of brown, right? And then I come over and I just do the tip of the brush, right? So just a little bit of white. Now the thing with the heavier viscosity paint is that won't bleed back into the brush, right? It stays at a ball on the tip, whereas the normal titanium white would start to seep up into the brown and become a mixed color instantly. This will still give me the white immediately, so I get pure white when I touch a little spot. But I can touch that spot and then start pressing and get a blended brown that eventually becomes pure brown. So I get that nice blended sparkle. Look at that highlight, right? So imagine if you were doing that with non-metallic metal, I can get that nice sparkle highlight that then blends nicely back into the brown and then eventually my shade. So it lets you do really nice edges. I mean, you can do it over larger areas too. I've already gotten rid of the white dot, right? It's already there. So you can do it to where you can blend larger areas too, right? Once you get pretty good with it, right, you can go in and you can start by doing your white like this, and now kind of like wet blending, I get a nice blend from my white down to my brown, right? That gets through this kind of mid-tone color and then to my pure brown. So you can do some linear like wet blended style. It's just that both colors start on your brush and you're only going to get that one edge of color for whatever you've dipped in. And you can do this with any color, right? It doesn't have to just be white, right? But you're going to get your one color there, your stroke back across starts to blend them, and then eventually you get to where you've only got the darker color. So it's meant to go from a bright color to a dark color and give you the ability to do that in one fell swoop. Right? It's not a technique I use a lot, but a lot of people will when they are going in and doing a lot of delicate blend work in small areas on faces. So you can imagine using this to highlight and blend the bag under the eye or the top eyelid or small areas on faces. Obviously with non-metallic metal, doing a shiny edge and being able to do like this and pull that bright sparkle down into the color that you want. And I just use these two contrasting colors to show you very quick how it does it, but that's the key. Adam says, which 3 products or colors would you recommend for someone to try who's only used Citadel or Vallejo for the past 6+ years to convince them to refresh all their paints to Pro Acryl? Holy cow. Pressure. So the titanium white is the one that everybody says. And so if you've ever painted with white, the thing that I usually tell customers when they say, hey, what would I try? I would try here's the thing, either try the colors you struggle with the most in other brands so that you can see how we handle the problems of hobby paint, right? So if you have a color like white or yellow or whatever you struggle with, then pick those up. Or what I usually say that I like better is like, what are you about to paint that you really like and what colors would you like to paint it? And pick up some colors that you like and paint with them. Because if you're engaged and invested in what you're painting and you pick up a tool and use it and it works better, then you're more engaged. And I will challenge you to say that our paints will get you more engaged with whatever you're doing because they just work. We make artist grade paints. And I hate that I have to say it that way as if there's a difference, but there really is a difference in quality of paints that are meant to go to people who are really fine-tuned in their artwork. We make high-end artist grade paints with the best pigments you'll find on the planet, right? Done by hand, the old world style, as opposed to by big machine. Now, we have big machines that mix and blend everything, but the initial mixing of color and everything is still done by hand. And we only use the base pigment that the color is. We don't use big, house paint mixing machines like all of our competitors do to come up with their colors. So when you blend the colors, you don't know what you're going to get. They kind of gray out. We're just a better paint, right? We just work better, work easier. You don't have to thin the paint to use it. You can just use it on the brush. You'll notice I use a dry palette. Go back over to the palette, right? I use a dry palette because of that. So I either use my piece of glass or a piece of palette paper because our paints don't need to be thinned to use them. They only need to be thinned when you want to dilute the opacity, right? When you want to see through a paint more and don't want it opaque, use some wetting agent, use, a medium or water to do glazes and filters with. So you'll just find that they're easier and give you exactly what you want every time.
So where would you start, Jason, for somebody who's making the switch? Where would you start if they're a little overwhelmed with the choice.
Well, that's why I said pick colors you like. I can't tell you which colors to use because I make all the colors and all our colors work exactly the same. If I tell you a red, a yellow, and an orange and you don't like those colors, then you're not going to be as engaged with them. You're not going to care. So pick colors you either struggle with that you know if you had ones at work you'd enjoy painting more, or pick colors you love. It's that simple. I leave it to you. So there is no silver bullet. All of our paints are better than everybody else's paints. So I have no problem with you picking any of them. Pick the ones you love that'll get you engaged and enjoying your painting more. Primary colors? Yeah, you could. If you want to do that. I still, it's funny because there are people out there that really like to get engaged in that like CMYK paint style and want to blend all their colors and make them from 4 colors, 5 colors technically, right? And that's fine. But we're in the day of I'm a lazy artist. I don't want to do that, right? We've done it. Like when I painted the crone with the new heavy-bodied acrylics to show you the heavy-bodied acrylics, we used all CMYK to paint her, right? To show you the power of the new paste acrylics. Right, so when our heavy bodies come out, you'll be able to do wonders with them. They're nice and matte, right? Unlike most paste acrylics. So if you're looking for super high grade artist acrylics, then there you go. But when painting models and with the amount of detail and color that has to go in a small area, and with the limited amount of paint you need for each of those small areas, I find that it's easier to buy the range of colors that you want. But the right brown for the leather instead of mixing that brown every time. But some people love it, and yeah, so you can do that. But I would never tell anybody that said, hey, I want to try your line for the first time and hand them CMYK to paint with. I mean, you could, and you'd see how great they mix, but that's a little rough. Depends on the
person picking them up.
Yeah, the confidence and the comfort. Like I said, I always trust your decision on what colors you love better than mine. What's a good non-PA white as a base before using bold titanium or heavy titanium as a highlight? A non-pro acryl white? Why would I ever give you anything non-PA white? Why you would use a gray? Dirt. A good non-PA white as a base before using bold titanium or heavy titanium as a highlight? I guess I don't understand because it makes me think you don't want white because you can't highlight white. So you're looking about a non-white, right? So I use grays. Maybe that's what you're asking, right? So like the neutral or warm grays up to bright neutral gray is a great one, or white blue, right? The bright neutral gray and white blue are the two colors that I wind up using the most. To get to a white. So you come up through, like when we do non-metallic metal, right? You wind up with using something like a Payne's gray or a dark blue or a blue black, right? And then you move that up to white blue. Can you punch in on that? Mm-hmm. You move that through mixing with white blue until you get to white blue as your final highlight. And this guy has just the tiniest spot of white on there, right?
Very small.
And the rest of it is white blue.
Okay, I see. Sorry, I meant what's a good off-white from your range to use as a base from
Yeah. That's what I was hoping you meant. And yeah, it would be like bright neutral gray, blue white, stuff like that. Because that's what you see me doing. That's the best case is like on all of this armor, there's very little, if any, white actually used. It's all the white blue is what is the brightest color there, and it still allows you to then punch a little bit of white. But if I were painting a stormtrooper or something similar, then that had white armor, same thing, right? So like on this guy with the whites, this is all dark warm gray to bright neutral gray, and then transparent white. But it still looks like white armor, but I haven't used any white. Because a lot of what we paint is like that dirty military, style coloring. So this is all just grays. But because that bright neutral gray looks like a white, it gives you the feel of a white because it's so bright. You can still put white over it and highlight it. Same thing with our white helmets on our Blood Angels, right? Although on that has more of the transparent white. But same exact workup. I just use more of the transparent white and more of the titanium white to get it to a cleaner white finish at the end. Not quite so oily and dirty, but same exact workup. I love grays to get me there. And this one is on our YouTube channel for how I did it. So you can see every step of the way on this guy.
Ooh, Rainer, thank you for that raid, 15. Appreciate it.
Hey, gang.
Welcome in, Raiders. Here's a question from William Ray. How do you best use your transparent paints? I'm lost on when to use them.
Give him the link, Chris.
That's right. I'm coming in with
Give him the link.
Hot, sassy link. Here we go. Where is it?
Hot Sassy Link. The transparents are the most flexible paint that you'll find. If you've ever heard of people using inks, they do what inks do, but better, because they're actual acrylic paints. They feel like paints, act like paints. They're just more see-through. So you can use them every place you would use a normal acrylic where you're not looking for opacity,
There you go.
right? So typically the way we use them is we either will glaze over the top of other colors with them, spray over a zenithal highlight with them, mix them in with metallics like we mentioned a little bit ago. They mix in with the metallics to make any color metallic you'd ever imagine without taking away the shine of the metal flake, because they're not opaque. So they, let's show you. I'll paint my fingernails, Chad. One of the ones that I love the most is bronze and transparent blue, right? So if I take bronze and transparent blue, this is a good one.
I'm already excited for the workup.
Yeah, this one's a good one. Because the bronze has just enough of a yellowish tint to it that when you give me a little bit of transparent blue, I'm going to get this really good tarnished color.
Nice. There's the palette so that you guys can see the mix there. Ooh.
Okay, and then we take... So there's a couple ways to do this. I'll generally do it like this. I'll paint half of my finger, or I'll paint one fingernail like this. So if we go through and do like the metallic as a base, to do it I guess the hard way. I would say this is the easy way, but this is the hard way. Easy way speed-wise, hard way if you're not comfortable with glazing, right? So I'll let that dry. In the meantime, I'll go back and take a little bit of the transparent blue and mix it into the bronze over here. Just a little bit of like a tip load of color, right? And I get this really bitchin' color. It gives you a really nice tarnished bronze feel, like, that verdigreed metal, without having to do any effect. You just mix the colors together and you get this awesome metallic color, right? So you look at that, it already has like that crazy warped look, and look at the base color.
Oh man, nice. Okay.
Versus that. Right? So, but I didn't lose any of the shine of the metallic. Pop in close on that.
Yeah.
Still completely metallic.
Look at that.
The way you want it. Right? But now I have that tarnished feel on it.
Interesting.
Just from mixing it in, because the transparents are single pigment paints, so you're going to get exactly the color you want, and you can mix them in and they don't hide the sheen of the metallic. So they're great for that. But that's obviously, you can see they would do that with any paint. The other way to do it, same thing, is you could paint your metallics and then you could come in with a very light, I'm going to get a bunch of water on my brush and then turn this blue into a even less opaque color that I can glaze with, right? Then I can come over here, and with that, I need to take a bunch of that off on my thumb palette quick. And then now I can go back over the top of that, and I would be able to glaze like maybe just over towards the shadow end of my nail, let's call it this side, right? And then I could make that color appear in a more controlled fashion rather than just mixing the whole thing. So if I wanted to do that verdigreed effect in just the low recesses of a piece, then I can do it very quickly again with just the transparent glazed in there, right? So I can
You
create
can start
that.
to see, yeah, you can see the transition there.
Right, but it keeps all the metal.
Yeah.
So now it's even more subtle than just mixing it together. So it really is just how you depend. You can imagine doing like your Nurgle and mixing like the transparent blue with the bronze and doing all your trim like that. It just instantaneously gives it that gross look. Or if you do it like this and then you glaze it back over, it just gives you more control. So your whole thing isn't that color. It just puts it where you want to. But because they're see-through, you still get that yellowishness of the bronze. I'll do it a little bit more intentional here. Right, like so. So you can kind of use that as almost like an effect paint, but it's really just a quick glaze. And so hopefully you can see how this could be done over skin tones. You know, if you wanted to glaze in purples in the shadows, if you wanted to do anything, this just creates a paint that gives you the ability to do that a lot quicker, because it starts as a less opaque paint, and as you use it, its transparency builds up very, very quickly. So
That's a great example.
How awkward is your paint your nails?
Funny enough, I was also working on some pro acrylic nails. Nice. Perfect timing.
Scoot back up. This person saying about flesh tones there. What is it? Hulking Orc Daka?
Yep, this one.
Just wanted to say thanks. I went back and watched your YouTube video on building flesh tones, and it really made your troll skin. Oh, nice. Awesome.
Very cool.
Very, very cool.
That's what they're there for. Do.
Doot. I added that.
William Ray, fantastic. Thanks. I'm going to watch that video when it ends. Yes, Jordan goes through a very nice workup for you, gives you the lowdown on them. And Clarkatron, 16 months.
Thank you
so much. Yeah, it's a great video. He gives you 3 examples in there, and very similar to what Jason just said. Just a little extended version. TK421, when trying to do an artistic piece, do you recommend limiting the color range, like 2 to 3 colors max?
Nah. I mean, can you? Sure. Do I recommend it? No. Be lazy. Use the colors right out of the bottle that you need. You're adding a lot of stress to have to mix every color you want. Can you do it? Sure. Does it? Yeah. If you're trying to set a personal goal of challenging yourself to mix the colors you would normally get, there is no better way to do it. We do that a lot in our monthly challenges on Discord, right? We will push you to say, hey, you can only use these 3 colors. Make a model look cool. That is to get you to understand color mixing, right? Because the outcome of that is that you'll feel more comfortable mixing colors, and then you'll hopefully try to mix more and come up with really cool ways to do so. And that is super valuable, right? So, but do I recommend it just because you say you want a more artistic feel? No, I mean, you'd have to argue with me if you said that any of the stuff that I paint isn't more artistic. It's just a matter of what I feel like doing at the time. A combination of techniques and color and application, right, will get you anywhere. You will look at some people who have, like, I would say that the most artistic thing that you can do that translates, that's the wrong way to say it. The technique that you can use that translates best to the style visually of your model painting ability is your brushstroke, right? Period. Your use of color can do it too, but if it's not in combination with your brushstroke, which I think is the most important thing, it doesn't translate as well, right? You can airbrush the same colors you see me brush on, like, say, the wings or something like that on this, and it won't look the same. Why? Because I have a lot of texturing of the application of those colors that makes it look like the feathers are actually made of tiny little hairs that the airbrush just won't do. And because I need that at every layer of color that I do, then I wouldn't be able to pull that off. So color only gets you so far, right? How you blend is more an aspect of your brushstroke when blending than it is of the colors that you're blending. Right. That being said, you can look at certain painters and you can see the way that they color their shadows. Maybe their shadows tend to be purples or magentas or weird greens and jades in their shadows, and that's a style they've adopted that can be notable and visually disruptive enough to equate to a style that you think is attributable to that painter and becomes very painterly to that painter. So there is that capability. But a lot of that also has to do with brushstroke. If you look at, like, Craft World Studios is the one that comes to mind the most, right? Husband and wife team that paint amazingly. Their use of color is very strategic. It's very artistic in the way that they present complements and triads and tertiary colors into effects that you wouldn't normally see them in. But go beyond the color and look at the way the color is applied. You'll see heavy brushstrokes, a quicker application, less blending, more use of that loose style. That is really what you're seeing that makes their art look the way that it does. They could replace any of the colors they've used. As long as they keep that brushstroke, you'd still be able to identify it as them. Whereas other people could use their color schemes and it would be recognizable as not them. Does that make sense? So when you ask me if you're doing something that's more artsy, I say focus on the way you do your brushstrokes. Either try a heavier brushstroke. The thing that I always pull off is Cosmo, right? Because we painted him in like an hour, right? And it was all done with very, very heavy, haphazard brushstrokes, right? Just smacking paint like Bob Ross would, right? Blending it where it blends, not worrying about it where it doesn't, right? And so that can create a style and a feel for a very, artistic purpose attached to it that you don't even have to worry about too much. You just go quick and smack paint around. You have to have a knowledge of where the paint goes in order for that to be effective. So for some people, going quicker doesn't equate to it looking stylish, right? But if you're building up, just pay attention to like textures and brush strokes and things like that. Worry less about like smooth blends and things like that, unless that's really the ultimate goal that you're going for, is like a hyper realism, would have very smooth blends where color just transitions from one to the other. And the only time you have hard lines between colors is where you have very reflective objects, right? Really big shiny spots and stuff.
This is a great question from Clarkatron. What sort of ratio do I want to use glaze and wash to water to get consistency around the same as the washes?
Okay, here's the way I tell it to people. And again, it's funny because you watch me mix color and I'll say, here's my highly scientific method, and I just go and I squeeze stuff together. So the reality is exact ratios aren't as important as the fact that you think like I'm about to tell you. Take your paint, double it up or triple it up with wash medium, right? So 1 drop of paint, 3 drops of medium, right? At least, right? Test your opacity of that color. See if you like it, right? If it's still too opaque, add more medium. Do that mix until you feel good with the opacity, and then add as much water as you already have in the cup now. So if you have X amount of paint and X amount of medium, it equals this much, then put that much water in there too, right? So you double your mixture with water is where I tell you to start. Now, that is going to most likely give you not enough opacity for your wash, so you let that dry and put another coat on. Again, I'm always a fan of over diluting because you can always add more pigment to get where you want to go. You can never subtract it. So when you're learning, that's the way I tell people to do it. Add paint and glaze wash until you get to the desired level of opacity, or translucence is really what we're talking about. You're reducing opacity by adding the glaze wash in there. Get to where when you swipe it on, like you'll see me go and here, let's do it.
I was just about to say, can you do an example?
Let's do it. Let's show you how to make a wash, chat. We'll just do it live. Good questions in chat today. Let's keep it up. Yep. All right, so cup, right? Glaze wash medium, which I'm out of.
You're out? Hold.
There might be enough to do this. What color do you want to see? Do we have a model we can put a wash on? So we can actually show you in action. I have this. We use this guy. Our mech. Because we used the brown gray wash on him on the legs to show you that. All right, so let's pick a color. What do you want to do? What you want to do? Awesome, thank you. Did somebody take it out of stock?
Yep.
Okay. You want to do purple?
Purple.
You want to do a purple? Scroll down. I asked what color they want.
Okay.
There might be an answer. Warm brown? Oh, okay. I'm already using warm brown, so that's good. Yeah, let's do warm brown. That'll be a good rusty kind of effect on this mech anyway, right? So warm brown, right? So what I would do is, first off, you have to kind of have the, when you're cooking, you have to know how many people you're cooking for to adjust the measurement. You got to kind of know what surface area you're trying to cover. So if I'm trying to cover an entire miniature, it's going to be a different mixture than if I'm just doing the leather parts, right? So that's hard for a lot of people to get across. A lot of people want some magic ratio, and it's like, well, it depends on how much do you need, right? So let's just do it the simple way. Let's add 2 drops of paint. We're going to make way more than we need. So there's 1, 2 drops of paint. Not a lot of paint, right? Boom, 2. We'll try to do it as exact as we can with the bottles that we have. Obviously, the drops that come out of this are bigger, right? So going by what I said, we would put 3 times the amount of paint, so we would put 6 drops of this, right? So if I hold this, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was I only speak a couple of languages up to the number 3, all right? So there you go. Then we take the butt end of a brush, right, and we stir that together. The butt end of the brush keeps you from having to worry about taking too much paint into the bristles, number 1. So it allows you to mix less. And number 2, it's much easier to clean up and is a good lazy man thing to do. Okay? So there. Now we've diluted this for opacity. Right? So this is how you would build up a glaze. Right? Then I will test. I will get a damp brush. Not overly wet, just damp. I want to see the actual opacity. And then this is where you have to have hand tattoos. And you go in and you say, okay, is that pretty good? That's how opaque my paint is now. So I say, yes, that's pretty good, right? So you just dip the brush in, boom, big glob of paint. See, oh, don't put it on the same area. See what kind of transparency I've got. That's pretty good. I could glaze with that. That's good. Make sense? So now my mix of 3 to 1, right, or 2 drops to 6 in this case, is good. Now, like I said, I take my water because that won't be a wash. Look at that. Because the glazed wash medium is just as thick as the paint. Do 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 do. It's not flowing, right? So that's not going to be a very good wash, right? So then we take our handy dandy eye safety dropper and we add about that much water in there. I'm just assuming that's how much paint and mixture we had already. It looks like a lot more, but we're going to mix that up. Okay. The water makes it flow. We've just now lowered the viscosity. It also lowers the opacity. So, you know, that you can see, hopefully in your head, you can see the math. If that was the right opacity I wanted, adding that much water just reduced it and made it more see-through. So you may, once you start doing this enough, you'll start getting to a comfort level where you don't have it as opaque as you want on your test, right? You have it about half there. And then you add the water, which reduces it to the usable opacity, so you're back to just putting on like 1 layer of wash. In this case, we're going to have to do a couple layers of wash because I guarantee that we're too thin now, right? But if I take my mixture now and I put it on this leg, boom, I have a wash. You can go as nuts as you want to. I'm going in that. Let's cover it in one take. And you see how it's settling into the recesses the way you want it, right? The way the water works along with the glazed wash medium gives you what you're looking for as far as the way we expect a wash to work. Now I'm putting on very thick, so I might want to soak it up in some areas, but typically our medium is really good, so it shouldn't pool too badly. Right? But like if you see back here, you can see as I put it into those details how it does exactly what you want a wash to do. Fills in the gaps. Ta-da. Yay. Go team, our team. Right, we'll set that down, let it dry, and you'll get a good wash.
You do that in an airbrush aspirator?
Could you mix it like that and then airbrush it on? You could. It's just going to be a very light filter. You don't really need to... Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I do, technically, is make a wash when I mix the paint to make it flow through as a very light filter. Now, understand, you will not get that type of color intensity through the airbrush because it's atomizing the paint. This is a lot of paint in a small area, which builds up that pigment. As soon as you shoot this through an airbrush, you're getting a very light amount of paint covering a very large area. Lots of paint in a small area, airbrush, not much paint in a big area. So do that math. You have a lighter filter that's going to just be that kind of warm brown filter. It's not going to pool up in spots and give you the idea of a wash that sits in the low spots and acts as a shading component. When you airbrush this mixture, it's just going to be a filter. It's going to turn whatever color you do it just slightly that color. And then you can let it dry and build it up and build it up and build it up, but it's never going to drip into the recesses. It doesn't act like a wash when you atomize it through an airbrush. You can take a wash, you can take any of our washes and put them in the airbrush and spray them. They just become filters. They don't pool and run like a wash does anymore, right? Because what you're utilizing, right, is the specific weight of the paint when it's done as a wash, right, and that surface tension that drags all the pigment along with it through gravity to sit into the low spots and give it that effect. When you atomize the paint, you take all that away. You've got a billion little dots of paint that hit the model. They don't coalesce into one big drop and then move around the model like you want a wash to. But can you use it that way? Sure. It's just going to be a filter, which a wash is. It's just going to be more heavy here. If you want to pop in super close, you can start seeing, right? That gives you a good idea of what we're dealing with. We'll let it dry.
Great.
Christmas sushi. Why is Gabe the best monument employee?
Here's the problem. So I go silent a little bit when I what I like to call Jason starts to cook. He's cooking. So I'm recording. I don't want my little typing sounds to happen. But then Ghost Hunter over here starts asking me silly questions.
Very
Why is
silly
golf the
questions,
worst
Gabe.
sport to watch? Why is Gabe the best monument employee?
Very silly
Ghost
questions.
Hunter, besides losing all of your points entirely, you're banned. You're banned.
Oh,
I
banned.
I banned you.
Banned. It's a shadow ban.
Banishment?
It's a shadow ban.
You're not banned.
You're still here.
You're still
but
here.
in our minds, you're not here.
I have banned you.
He has
Hey,
banned you.
Thank you for that quick workup, Jason. We've had that question quite a bit. That's a good way of putting it. Make your
Yeah,
own
and it's
wash.
hard, right? Because people just say, can't you just put that on the bottle? It's like, the bottle ain't big enough to tell you how to do that. But yeah, so I think that'd be a good one. And we've talked about it a lot. We
Make your
have
wash.
we have a video that shows me painting with the glazed wash medium and setting things up that goes through all that. But this would be a nice tight one to put on if
Yeah.
people think it would be useful.
Make your own wash. Done.
It works with any color in our arsenal, any acrylics you've got that you like, that lets you not have to worry about, oh, does this color wash match the color I'm trying to paint here? It's like, who cares? Grab the color you like, put it in with our wash medium, a little bit of water, and all of a sudden you're done. Up and running. I'm mixing a little bit of advanced flesh tone in with the dark flesh here.
I think I'm pronouncing this. This is a first time chat. Schazenberg, what is your take on varnishes? When do you use ultra matte, or satin varnish?
So for me personally as an artist, the varnish is simply a way to get the sheen of the paint where I want it. Now, that said, because I paint with our paints, and Procryl is an ultra matte paint straight out of the bottle, what we wind up with is paint that's very matte already. So the only time I varnish really is when I'm doing a protective coat, like with our spray varnish at the very end. And I want matte because I don't want to interrupt the flow of the color the way I put it on. I do a lot of stuff like the non-metallic metal that you're seeing me work up here, and that relies on no shine from the light in the room, or as little light intrusion from the light in the room to pull off. Otherwise, why would I spend all the time putting the highlights where they go? Because the light in the room will reflect off the paint and mess it all up. So, I want everything to be ultra matte, so I stick with ultra matte, or, in our case, ultra matte varnish and ultra matte finish paints. If you're painting with more satin paints, like most of the hobby paints in the world, they have a little bit of sheen to them. And so then you would use a matte varnish to get rid of that sheen. Maybe you do it between layers because you've painted on a color that you're really happy with on a cloak. But the shine of the paint makes it hard to see where the highlights need to go because the room light is providing a highlight over there and it looks brighter than it really is. So matte it down, shows you exactly what you've painted. Then you can put your highlights on it, and then you can bring back a satin if you want later on. But typically it's matte, matte, and matte. The only time I use a satin or a gloss varnish is when I want to do an effect, like a blood effect. I want a little bit, so I use our gloss varnish mixed in with the paint or over the top of the paint. If I were painting a face and I wanted a tear, right? A clear varnish of gloss in the form of that tear, you can paint with it directly on the skin to give it a wet look. That looks great. Eyes, right? Sometimes teeth, tongue. A little bit of gloss varnish mixed in with the paint color will give it a little bit of sheen that brings those to life if I'm going for ultra realism. That works really well. Gloss varnish. Kenny, Next Level Painting, that rated us a little while ago. Kenny uses gloss varnish before he applies washes onto a model because it will smooth out the surface. Realize that matte finish has, at the microscopic level, a lot of teeth, right? And you have what's called tooth to the paint, and that tooth is what keeps it from reflecting light right back at your eye. The surface is irregular at a microscopic level. That's what gives it a matte finish. It doesn't have some crazy magic absorptive powers. It means that when light hits it, it has all of these little particulates that are sticking up at weird angles that the light hits and reflects around on the surface. It keeps it from coming back at your eyes. So it shows you the color of the surface, but it doesn't give you any shine. So those teeth that keep light bouncing around also grab paint, right? There's a micro texture there that if you put your wash over the top will give you a stronger filter over matte paint, meaning that if I were to put, this wash on here, notice how it turned a lot of my bright green it turned it in with that warm brown color into a totally different kind of green, because that matte finish on our paint is grabbing more of the pigment as it flows over the surface. So if you put gloss varnish over this, you would get a closer color of this green in the bright areas, because the paint would scoot along it easier because it's slick now, doesn't grab the paint, and then your wash would just fall into the recesses. Right? You'll still get a little bit of a tint of the color because it's highly pigmented, right? But it would be closer to the bright green and not as dark as the washes made it here. So doing a gloss varnish as a mid layer before you do your washes, great idea, right? And then after you've done your wash will matte it back down, or use a matte varnish to get rid of the shine, and you're back to normal. So they can be used as spot elements to control the sheen as you're working on the model. And if you're using it at the end of the model as a protective coat, I always go matte. Always. Because anything else you're going to hate. Any kind of shine that goes over the whole model, you will absolutely hate. And then you can go back and use gloss varnish on things like water effects that you've done with 2-part water epoxies, clear epoxies that make water effects. If you use a matte varnish on them, they frost over and look like ice. Then you use a gloss varnish and you can see through them again. It's like magic. So, stuff like that. I know y'all are in Arizona. We are Phoenix. I'm curious if living somewhere where humidity is regularly 80 to 90% would impact how the paints handle. I'd assume not much difference. Well, yeah, humidity has a big effect on dry time mainly. So more humidity like that, 80 to 90% is like it's raining all day, every day, right? So, or like the Pacific Northwest for a bunch of the year, or an island in the Pacific, right, where your humidity is super high, then your paints are just going to take a little bit longer to dry normally, right? Which is good on the hand of, from an artistic sense, giving you more time to blend, more time to work, but it can be frustrating because you got to be careful if you add too many additives to your paint that also extend the dry time, like our glaze wash medium or Noosh or other people's flow improvers. Sometimes they don't dry at all. Sometimes the paint it gets to where it's dry and it's tacky. It feels like a sticker, right? So be careful with the additives that you use. You are more prone to use things like alcohol-based thinners when you live in high humidity areas, because that speeds up the dry time. So you just want to make sure that you're not using a whole lot of drying extenders or curing extenders, right? We call them drying retarders. If you use a lot of components that retard the dry time, like glaze wash medium, things like that, you don't have to use as much. You use more water and less of the medium.
The mo you know.
Yeah, they just stay wet a little bit longer. Yep. Because humidity reduces the amount of evaporation that's possible. And evaporation is what causes paint to cure. So when you think of the science behind it, right, the polymerization of the acrylic polymer is done from the evaporation of the water element. In our case, we're water-based suspension. So when the water evaporates, it generates a little bit of heat. And that little bit of heat is what causes the acrylic to melt together. Think of it like that in layman's terms. And that's when you get cured paint, because the acrylic paint is really just a layer of plastic. What models are teasing you, showing you a bit of knee? What models are teasing you guys to paint that just haven't got to yet? Thumb palette enthusiasts. Oh, like what am I excited to paint? That I have a bust that I backed on Kickstarter a while ago that was awesome. I love, if I'm ever backing things on Kickstarter, it's usually digital goods because they're available already. And so the Kickstarter ends and you get your stuff. So I have the team over in production printing out a bust that I'll be painting. I've got a couple of models here. I've got this Spartan model from a buddy of mine's game. Tommy Rice has got a game where his models are highly stylized Spartan warriors. And, they have like the emblem, the Greek emblem on there. And so I'll be painting this guy up next. I'm really excited for him. And then other than that, I don't know that there's anything that's really stand out to me right now. I don't have a whole lot, and that's mainly my fault. I'm not in a mind space with all the releases and stuff that we've got going on. The business of hobby has me pressed against the wall, so to speak. So I haven't had a lot of time to look at models. This was the last one, right? Because, this is why he's on the stream right now, is because I was like, oh yeah, the Sanguinius model. I forgot we had this guy. He's great. So yeah. I definitely think that way. I just haven't had enough time lately to look at the models. We have so many here that I could choose anything.
What metallics should be used with magnesium to make a nice gold to complement Horus Heresy Emperor's Children purple?
Boy, that video you just did, Chris, the one I did the other day.
Yes. Just to kind of bring it up to speed, I've got several videos of clipped things, not longer tutorials, but a bunch of these snippets, because Jason has been getting many good questions in chat besides like his bigger workups. So I have a true metallic gold video coming out probably this week. So we've got a release schedule we're working on.
He nailed it too. It's awesome.
Yeah, you'll really like that. So Little Billy, just so that I think you were asking that question earlier. The colors we used was magnesium, rich gold, bright gold.
Bright gold.
So you can go, and also just so that was last week. That was the 6th, Little Billy, to remind yourself. Chris, you're fired and you're hired. Perfect. I like that. I like to be
fired and hired. What the hell?
Go back on the 6th and check that VOD out. That video is coming out alongside several other videos that are more quick workups based on questions rather than an extended workup, if that makes sense, right? Because we've been getting a lot of good questions, and Jason can get a really good example going, which is, really...
Yeah, we've got the green cloth where we layered and glazed the green cloth.
Glazing and layering, that one.
Right. Yeah, that was on, I don't have that model over here, you do. But the glazing and layering of the green cloth that we did on the Warrior, along with the axe that we did on one of them that was like edge highlighting that I did real quick.
Yeah, so I've got glaze, like... These are kind of like 101 tips that are coming out over the next week or so, right? Glazing and layering, quick edge highlights. There was one that I really liked that I thought you guys would like, which was how much paint do you put on the palette? Which to some of us are like, well, of course we know, but for other people, I think they'll really benefit from it, especially if somebody who has no idea like how to even begin, which is where a lot of people start their journey, specifically with like people who are researching how to paint miniatures and stuff like that. Some of these simple techniques people don't really know. So, and we talk about them every day. So, some of these simple tips are super valuable, even though it might not seem like it from the surface, right? So, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
That was my long-winded way of saying we have videos coming.
Stay tuned.
Me trying to capture the little moments has been my goal, so that are faster editing, more content, and, essentially just getting them clipped faster. Advanced clips is what I like to call them.
Good. That's a good one.
Advanced clips.
Yeah, I like that.
Derpstick, I know that the 40K Death Guard isn't Jason's preferred color scheme for them, but what brown paint would be a really good dirty green armor when used as a wash?
Oh, to filter over the dirty green?
Mm-hmm.
Black brown is my favorite. That's what I use on even the 30K Death Guard that I did. Black brown is great. It's like the absolute best brown to start with. Then you can move into like a rusty brown, like warm brown, or burnt sienna even, right?
Mm-hmm.
That will give you more of a rusty effect if that's what you're going for. But black brown is the best starting point in my opinion. It's such a good desaturated color that looks like dried dirt, but is also a good background for, like I said, like rusty coloring and things like that. So big fan. I'll pull that Dreadnought, you can see, because I did the shoulder pads on my Dreadnought in that kind of standard Death Guard green, right? That 40K Death Guard green. Somehow they just all got together and decided that what chaos really means is to paint all your armor the same color. So this green is done with black brown, just like the whole thing. I just used that bruised white that I love so much on the 30K side of things. But this is the dark camo green, yellow green, or dark camo green, dark yellow green kind of thing. And then the black brown over the top of that. And then going in with, some of the rusty We haven't put a matte varnish back over this, but then going in with like the rusty streak effects off of the rivets and things like that. So it works really well to give you that dirty, freaking disgusting look. Because when I was doing the noosh on this, I just did the whole model. I painted it all up with the green shoulder pads and knee pads and all that and head, and then went in and filtered the noosh over the top of all of it. And that was all black brown.
Artistic Outlaw, is there a mainline color that matches the texture paints? Which one specifically, Artistic Outlaw?
The browns are dark umber.
Oh, here we go. Yep.
Yeah, the brown earth is like dark umber. It will have a different shade to it because of the mix of raw materials that we use for the texture. So it will, I think, be a little bit darker as a texture paint, but the dark umber is where you're at with those. The Martian earth is burnt sienna. The golden earth is golden brown. Snow is obviously white, and the grays are dark neutral gray. So yeah, same coloration, just not, they don't look exactly the same, but they give you a great base. Generally what I erred on is that the texture paint will be darker, so that if you use those paints over the top of them, it will be used as kind of a mid-tone or first highlight layer. Like if you were to dry brush those colors over the texture, you won't get a lot of contrast. They're very similar.
Oh my gosh, it's almost 4 o'clock.
What? Holy cow, I got 15 minutes.
Isn't that crazy?
I got 13 minutes. Paint a face. Trying to paint a face.
Trying to paint the face. What colors are you using for that face?
I used olive flesh for the eye sockets right now. That's what I'm doing right this minute, is trying to define where I want the
I'm going to super zoom on
eyes
that.
to be. Yeah, I just put 2 dollops of olive flesh in there to get the eye sockets defined.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back in and frame them up again. I don't want to get too done with the face before I get some color in the eyes.
Now, why did you decide to start painting the face now?
Just because I want to paint. I'm trying to get color. Like when we left you on Thursday, when we last saw our hero, I was saying that we're at that point where I need to start getting all of the items with some base coat colors on them, right? And so I need to get a coloring on the hair. I've done a base coat on his little fur thing and some leather, and that reminds me I got to get gold on the doohickeys at the bottom of the leather, because as you can see, like the non-metallic metal is just super sketchy right now. And so before I go back in and start blending all that, I want to see how all the other colors around it are going to act, right? I've still got some stuff I got to do over here. It's like I completely spaced and didn't do anything on this side of his arm, right? So some areas I need to shadow. So right now it's just the part where I'm going and filling in some details, you know, setting up like that, like for the eyes, just to get the eyes framed in is the key right now. And then get some color on the hair.
Hobby ADHD, the wings look so great.
Thank you.
Go back and check out some of our VODs. I'm going to, let's see, it was February 18th, 19th, and 20th. Hobby ADHD. That's when we did the full workup of the wings.
And they're not done yet. I'll brighten them up a little bit with more white. But again, before I do that, I wanted to see how bright the armor wanted to be. And I want the armor to be a very pale gold. So you can see where I'm going with that. And so what I do is I tend to play around on the model a lot to find my contrast, find where I want my brightest bits and darkest bits to lie. Helps me set up my lighting, helps me get my colors correct. So we set up, because Chris wanted to see how I do something like this when I do that kind of pearlescent effect. So we did all the underpainting and then the initial overpainting on the wings. And then I'll come up and with the brush, we won't do any more airbrush on them, but with the brush, I'll go in with titanium white now and like highlight the edges and some of the feathers in the highlight areas to where we'll bring them back to feeling white. Right now they feel like kind of a pale blue blanket color, except for like right up here along these edges. Right? So we'll bring that kind of white feather feel out, extended out along all the feathers until we get down into this area where it's more shadowed close to his body. We'll leave those like they are. Right? But yeah, I'm happy with how they're turning out. It's a great model. And I'm doing things a little bit differently. Like the non-metallic, I would not normally paint the way you see me painting it. I started with the brightest areas and then sketched backwards into my midtones and shadows, which I don't ever do. Just to see if that helps people get the light bulb to go off in their heads on how non-metallic works. Normally I work up from dark to bright because I already have my brain locked in on where the highlights are going to be. But this is a fun way to kind of explore and gives me the ability to do some fun stuff that I might not normally do in the reflective qualities of the metal. So
Crypt Shadow has a question. What monument green would be great to get a similar look like the Forge World Krieg color?
Forge World Krieg color.
Let me research real quick.
Yeah, I'm going to need some help.
1 second.
I don't know any of my competitors' colors. I kind of live in
okay. Well, maybe... There you go.
Kind of live under a rock when it comes to silly name paints. Kind
of like this color. I don't know. So is it like a bluish?
Yeah, it's like a blue-green.
Blue-green?
It's actually more like a Panzer gray.
I was just about to say it looks like a... Looks like a couple different things.
Give me a minute, and we'll play around with some color real quick. Here we go.
Nice.
Got some eyeballs. All right, so I would say that I always like stuff like that. I start with warm gray or dark warm gray. So if we start with some, they're kind of lighter though, right? Bring them up again.
Yeah.
They're like a lighter color.
Oh, sorry. You said bring that up again. Okay. Let's see.
Start with some warm gray.
Here's the actual picture.
What am I looking at? Is the color on the pants or is the color on the fold of the cuffs of the coat?
There's a French blue ones that were a green coat. 1 second. Here we go. I'm going to bring that picture back up. A little bit more precise. There's the French blue ones, and they have a green coat style. Oh, interesting.
Are we seeing the right picture?
I think so. It's kind of hard to...
Can you give us a link to a picture?
Yeah. You have to give us a
There's
link.
like a million of them here.
Look up... Oh, okay. Look up the 158 green regiment. Let's see this. Here we go.
Look, it came up immediately. Oh, well, that's a wholly different... That's a camo greens. That's like
okay, yeah.
That's already in a bottle.
That's exactly what we needed. That's exactly what we needed.
Yeah, that's already in a bottle. So you would start with dark camo green, right? You can just go to the top. I'm not going to mess with it. Dark camo green, and faded green.
Perfect.
Right. This will give you. So we just painted a tank.
Yep.
Right. And this is exactly what we did on this.
You can see that all through the airbrush too.
So that's the color that I use. Now, if you like for it to be a little bit more yellow, then you can replace the camo green with dark yellow green. Right? So you go dark camo green, dark yellow green, faded green, and mix the faded green in there. The faded green into this will still maintain a little bit of the yellow, but give you a highlight. It'll be a little bit darker than this was. Right? But you can see how all of those together. So the two camo greens and faded green are really built to do this. Military greens, Russian, Japanese, U.S., World War II style greens. The yellow green in there gives you a really nice ability to push it into a little bit more warmth if you want to. So I would say those are your best bet.
I love those three colors. Some of my favorites. Thank you for referencing when I have a specific reference at chat, it's always better so that I can look it up. So thank you for sending me that.
All right, his hair is golden.
Oh, like blonde?
Golden. Like, oh.
Wow.
Like I would do that if I had his hair. I would be like all day, every day, just.
Don't go back.
Dark golden brown. and golden brown.
Fabio.
Ta-da.
Long, luscious locks of sanguinian.
Yes. Like the hair of a piece of what's her nuts hair from Lord of the Rings. Galadriel's hair. That's what I liken it to. That they made the stars on the visage of Galadriel's hair.
I like that reference.
The Silmarils were created.
I'm a big Tolkien guy, if you guys haven't found that out.
They were created from the vision of Galadriel's hair, according to legend.
I remember a video where Jason had hair. Oh yeah, that was in one of our ads. Yes. Jason had long, luscious locks.
Never since painting live on stream. I got rid of my locks before 2010. I had shoulder length hair.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I think I remember you were mentioning that. I think I've seen a picture.
Yeah, I had shoulder length hair. Back in my boisterous motorcycle days. And I was working on my van for the weekend, changing out the cooling system. I tell this story all the time. And I was on my roll around, right?
Yeah.
My creeper.
Oh.
And my hair tie that I had my ponytail pulled back on. I didn't even know it, but the rubber band had broken.
Oh, dude.
And so my hair looped down underneath the wheels of the roll around and got tied up in the axle. And it was one of those where the axle spins. And so my hair wrapped around the wheel at the point of the axle and yanked it to the root of my scalp.
And
I have had short hair ever since. I had short hair for decades before that too. That was one of the only times that I ever took a turn into having long hair. So it's not like long hair was all I ever did. I had long hair for about 5 years.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Yeah, Chris just recently became the beautiful man that you see before you that's not on camera.
My pompadour is extra long right now.
But he had long, luscious locks, and then he cut them all off, and we realized you are a beautiful man, Christopher. He was trying to keep it. I get it. You know, it's like Samson's locks gave him power. Chris's locks kept him from everybody clamoring to touch him.
That's right. That's right.
He had short hair. Chris is a beautiful man.
I had a commitment, chat. 10 years.
That's just a silly commitment, by the way, because I guarantee that nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
Except you.
That's it. That's right. I gave it a whirl. And then I got lazy and let it go for longer than that. And I'm like, well, today's the day. I don't regret it at all. One of the best decisions I've ever made. I liked it when I had it. It played. Have a nice day. Now, way better. My sleeping became tremendously better. Wasn't like carrying around like a small pelt on my head all day.
My God, the heat.
Yeah, it was pretty like
if you're doing anything in the heat, I can't imagine having that in Arizona. Oh my God.
Oh, I was out filming in the middle of summer. Not a fun time. But hey, now we're here, chat. That's all that matters.
Well, you kept it under a hat and pulled back all the time too. So.
All the time. So what was the point? Great question, Chris. What was the point? There was no point. And that's the moral of the story. It's 3:59. Jason.
Ding dong, the witch is dead.
This is it for you.
Ding dong.
I run a tight ship here.
The witch is dead. The wicked old witch is dead.
This has been a great stream. Wouldn't you concur, chat? Jason got scalped. No, it's a different version of that. Derpstick.
Basically, by my roll around.
I just checked that app. I don't know what app you're talking about there, Valter. Your lovely paints aren't listed on there. Is it a possibility to add them, or can you send me the list of colors you do and the codes, and I'll do it for you?
What app are you talking about? Just get Paint Rack.
Yeah, I'm not sure what app you're talking about.
We work with an app called Paint Rack. And we give them all of our color information. We don't give them color codes because we don't build our color that way. Whereas other companies do. We don't use... Heck, we mix everything by hand, so I don't know what the color code is. All I can give you is close approximations. We don't...
Yeah.
And that would be what's on our label, and our labels don't look like the paint. Because we don't type numbers into a machine to get our colors. We mix our colors the old-fashioned way. So, but get the Paint Rack app. It's all on there. You can use it to compare colors. I don't know what... Did somebody in chat give you a different app to use?
I'm going up and looking through it, but I'm not seeing the app that you're mentioning.
Paint Rack.
Also, Hobby Color Converter on is a great... No, I might have missed it, so you'll have to remind me, chat. I'm not seeing it.
All right, well... I got some color on more of his stuff.
That's good. That's all she wrote.
You guys kept the content rolling. We had a lot of great questions today.
Great questions today.
Paint Rack was made by Hindarian. I don't know if that's true. Is it? Maybe. I don't remember. Maybe. I only know them by their real names. It's like Octopus something is the company name. I forget.
Oh, okay. Hobby Color Converter.
Be altered. Hobby Color Converter, but if there are no codes, I can't add them. Sorry about that. Yeah, get Paint Rack. It does the same thing. We work directly with those guys. Or if you know the people that do this Hobby Color Converter, they can contact us and we can give them the info.
Yep. Sir Blame, that's the idea.
No, it's not German. Yeah, we give our barcodes to Paint Rack, so you can just scan the barcode with your phone and it'll add it to your collection. I think if you do the paid version, that you have a collection, you can track what you have and don't have. Yeah, Courageous Octopus. There you go. Travel Cedric. I knew it was Octopus something or other. But Altered, they have a free version that has all their paints in there that'll do like comparisons to other brands. They have like 50 million brands in there. I don't know. All right, guys and gals. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed our Monday. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I built some closet stuff. We didn't make it near as far as we hoped to. I only demoed half the closet and built the whatever you call them, cabinets for that half.
Oh, you're totally redoing it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a big...
And we didn't really have a good plan. We thought we'd just
deal.
tear everything out, but then we thought, where does everything go? We don't have enough house. We have a very small house. Yeah. And so when we were looking around, and 2 dogs, so you can't just put stuff everywhere you want. Like we could have draped it across the back of couches and stuff if we didn't have dogs. But you have dogs, so your clothes can't get draped across couches.
That's a good point.
So we didn't plan that very well. We don't have any extra rooms where we can be like putting the closet, and we don't have extra closets to put the closet. So it's like we did my half and dumped all my stuff in my office, like on the floor, and all my clothes on the floor, and left Jen's hanging, and then built Jen's side of the closet, only to find out at the end of the day that they had given us a refund on all the product we bought for some reason. I was like, I don't understand. It's $65. What's that for? It was for the rods.
Oh.
The curtain rods, or the clothes rods.
Get them.
Can't get them. So it's like, well, we can't put the thing back together, and she can't hang all her stuff because we don't have the rods, and they're specific to this. these cabinets.
Now you have to build them out.
Yeah, so now I gotta wait. So anyway, whatever.
That's a pain.
Yeah, real closet. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Make sure to follow the links Chris put in chat. Check out monumenthobbies.com. If you have not tried our products, we'd love to have you give us a test run. See if we can become your hobby provider. We got some amazing stuff. Amazing stuff, gang. Made right here in Phoenix, Arizona. Join the Discord, as Ghost Hunter says, 5,466 amazing artists in the Discord who are now sad that they will get 6 less new friends at Meet 6 less new friends at Adepticon. Do you talk to your paint, Ghost Hunter? 18 new colors coming at Adepticon. That's plenty. And then make sure to check out the YouTube where all of these videos go to the live tab. As soon as we're done, we do stream live on both Twitch and YouTube, simulcast Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's going to be a little bit different time for you guys. Was it you up? So earlier, right? Maybe? I feel like earlier for you guys. Was it earlier today? I feel like that's how that works. But anyway. So, Sugar Rush, Heavy Body Paints right on the tail of those. Oh, it's later. Oh, it started later. Okay, later.
Yeah.
Spring forward, so it's later. Oh, yeah, later. All right, cool.
We stayed the same. Everyone went later.
Everybody else moved an hour later.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, because it's not we moved to catch a California caught up to us.
Yep.
So they went later. All right, cool. Gotcha.
So we got the Kenny raid.
Gotcha. Right, so now it's later for 6 months, and then we'll go back to the other time. Or everybody just moved to Arizona. We're always on the same time. We don't have to touch our clocks. So thanks so much. Hang out. Chris is going to find somebody to raid. So enjoy some more hobby goodness as you head off into your evening. Show some love in the chat we wind up in. And make sure to catch us back here on the Discord. We'll catch you here tomorrow. Adios, gang.